All right, thank you, everyone. I'm Tom. I founded Dancing Cranes Yoga. My wife and I teach at various places around. And one of our specialties is to teach so that people can view these classes on Zoom. And thank you for Hinsdale Library for sponsoring this. Okay, so now in your chair, this is an exercise class. The chair is a tool. So you don't want to lean back into the back of your chair, more to the front. And more to the front in that you are feeling your feet on the floor. I'm going to keep moving my chair around just to give you a different perspective. If we were in person, this probably wouldn't be necessary, but you're on a two-dimensional screen here. So notice how far forward I am from the back of the chair, and that I want to place my heels underneath my knees. So they're not back, heels off the floor, but heels pressing into the floor. If you do that, notice that your thighs activate automatically. And you want to, as much as possible, keep that pressure into the floor so that your legs stay active. You want to feel your legs throughout this. Okay, so now let's just start feeling our body. And the easiest way to do that, in yoga, we call that drawing our awareness into the body, is to start shifting around. Just kind of move a little bit. Feel the body as you start taking some breaths. So you're becoming aware of the nostrils and the air entering the nostrils. And then exhaling. Probably you'll settle down a bit as you continue the breathing. Nostril breathing is relaxing. Any other type of breathing, like through the mouth, is not. Not that it's not beneficial, but it's not relaxing. Right now, I'd like for you to relax. One more time. Good. Now, first side view. We're going to rock on our sitting bones. Bring your glutes back so that your sitting bones are directly under and contacting the chair, so it's not to the back or the front. And so if you rock on your sitting bones, you'll begin to feel what's called your pelvic tilt. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. Now, if you put your hands on your knees, you can come back. Inhale forward, exhaling back. It's important to keep your head not necessarily still, but at least the chin is parallel to the floor. So you're not bobbing your head up. So that, and I like to think of it as the navel going forward and exhaling back. And as you are moving your pelvis, Rocking on your sitting bones, notice that you round your back when you come forward. This encourages you to exhale. And you're coming forward, you're arching your back. So exhale on the way back, inhale forward. Let's do 3 more times. Now, when you come back, lean in one direction, lean in another, and you want your arms straight so you feel this in your upper back, your shoulder blades. And then come forward. So if you do it about halfway, you'll begin to feel that your abdominals can contract. Pretty much want to stop there. If you're standing, your glutes will be able to contract. So your pelvic tilt is very important for abdominal contraction and glutes. Those 2 muscle groups I just mentioned stabilize your core. Your spine is now stacked. That simply means that one vertebrae is on top of each other and it's acting like a pole. I want you to go in a circle now, and it's like your spine is a pole moving around. Before we were doing forward bends, back bends. The spine does that because the vertebrae come apart. Now the vertebrae are together, and this is forcing you to move lower, down to the lower part or lumbar region of your spine, near your hip, in the stomach area. Now let's change direction. So what we're doing here is lubricating all the joints in the spine or joints of the vertebrae. One more time around. And then stop. Stay upright. Just notice how that feels. Arms to your side. Now the spine goes side to side. We did forward bends, back bends. Now we're doing side bends. And then stop in an upright position. Okay, now let's step back to that pole. Think of a pole. And it's hard in our culture to have spinal awareness because as kids, we raise our kids to be, we push them around in this little cramped area in which they're leaning back. So we didn't get any sense of what a stacked spine is. That's where a lot of our back problems come from and how we move. This next one, if you can work with this is imagine an 8 on its side, or the symbol for affinity, and you're doing 2 intersecting circles. And don't use your head to move your spine, but move the spine lower. Breathe anywhere, any way that feels comfortable for you. And then change directions. And then stop in the center. Now, I like to stop and just take a breath so that we have the opportunity to feel what we've just done. And for me, my spine feels more lubricated. I feel better because I'm moving my spine, and I'm pumping what's called the craniosacral fluid back up from the sacrum up into the cranium. This next part, you are going to unstack your vertebrae, inhaling nice and deep, and exhale, come forward and down. Inhaling up, head is the last thing to come up. Use your hands to help you come up. Exhale back down. Inhale back up. Exhaling down. Now you're coming down. See if you can put your fingers on the floor. Your knees are wide, by the way, and let your head dangle. Feel length in the back of your neck. Move your head around. So you're taking length in the back, in your whole neck, especially the back. And then elbows onto your thighs, your hands onto your thighs, and you're restacking the vertebrae. Notice how that feels. Good. Now let's drop your chin down and move your head in a circle very slowly. You want, would never say move your head very fast. Take your time. That way you can feel all the different muscles that need to engage to make this movement possible, which are quite a few. And pay attention to what works for you, and remember that. Because if it felt good, it worked for you, it helped relieve something that you're going through physically, then that's a tool that you could use in the future. And then change directions. That's one of the values of taking a class. Find out what works for you and then use it the next time you need it. It's called experience. We need to remember that most of us have a lot of experience. One more time. Good. Then come up. Now, believe it or not, we're still working on the spine. Cervical spine is your neck. Now, hands behind your back. We're going to twist in the lumbar region of your spine, which is the lower part. And basically push your head back and twist. Stop. Good. Now we're going to get a little bit away from the spine and into the side of your torso by bringing your left elbow up while you're pushing your head back. Down. Other side. Down. Pushing your head back, move your middle or thoracic spine. Another way to think of it is your ribs. Move them in a circle. Try not to move your head. Not the easiest thing to do. Other way. And then stop. Bring the arms down. See how that feels. Now bring both arms up toward the ceiling. Don't move your spine now. Keep it stationary. Remember, you're keeping it stacked, so you're not leaning forward, leaning back, keeping the abdominals contracted. And reach up with one hand. Feeling the stretch in the ribs. Come down the other side. Make sure you're breathing, don't hold your breath. Let's do that again. Other one. Now lean back slightly and keep going. Moving up. I'm trying not to move my head here. One more round. Good. Now bring your arms out to the side. Tilt your head forward and back with your head. Other side. Chin now, down, and bring your arms down. Notice how the arms feel. So much of our arm problems are really a neck issue. So this is a good way to help alleviate that, or at least mitigate it. Now let's continue with this neck, shoulder. Take your left shoulder forward, up, back, and down. Keep going. So you're lifting the shoulder up, not bending your arm. Bring it back and down. One more time. Now, right shoulder. And now alternate. Good. Now take your left elbow, inhale it forward and up, exhale it back and down. Keep going. Three more times. And do the same thing on the right. This requires you working your shoulder blade. So you're bringing your elbows into a circle, lifting up, and you might notice each side feels and moves differently. Now alternating. And then stop. Notice how that feels. I am really feeling this in my fingers. There's a slight tingling sensation. Okay, so we went elbows forward, elbows back and up. So if you're moving your elbows, this is really your upper back, your shoulder blade muscles that are making this action possible. Inhaling back, up, exhaling forward, down. So that elbow is moving in a nice circle. And when the elbow is moving back up, sometimes it can go over the head, other times it can't, that's fine. You're moving the muscles in your shoulder blade. You got a few of them there. All right, now stop. Does one arm feel different than the other? That's always an interesting thing to do. Just observe the difference. We're going to do the right elbow back, up, and notice the difference in my arm. This is the best I can do. I'm still recovering what's called frozen shoulder. Once more. Now alternate. And then stop. Just see how that feels. Good. Okay, now notice how your fingers feel. Let's do a little more loosening up with them. Now, people ask me how many times can they do this? And any one of these, it depends on how your body feels. You can do it every day. I'm not sure about multiple times a day, but daily would be fine. Now your palms are up and you're flapping. Keep your elbows, notice that they're sort of attached to my ribs, my torso. Down with the palms. And circle. Other way. Good. So one of the values of chair yoga is you can really work your upper body and make it feel a lot looser, which will really help you sleep at night. Because a lot of times we just get tensed up trying to do things. So let's do one last thing with the shoulders. Arms to your side. And inhale, bring both shoulders up towards your ears. And your shoulders. Hold your breath in. Exhale and drop. Let's do that again. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Just see how the upper body feels now. What does it feel like? Now, keeping your sitting bones to the front of your body, lean back and bend your right leg, intertwine your fingers there, and bring that knee in toward the armpit. Lengthen the left leg. Good. Release. Switch legs. Knee in toward the armpit. Now, if you can do both, that's fine, and twirl your ankles. If you can't do both, just bring your feet up a little and twirl your ankles. Other way. And then stop. Come forward with your spine. And next part, go back a little. Let's take the right leg, right ankle, over the left, and see if you can bring your ankle above your knee. And if you can do that, you could probably bend the other leg like this. So you can just do this, see how that feels. If you can't, what you're doing is just keeping it down. However far you can go. Now, this is for what is called a piriformis, is a hip. You want to move the hip to pick the leg up. So move the hip. Now, if you're here, you can take your elbow and push down. For a lot of people, their knee is up. That means their inner thigh muscle is tight. And you want to apply enough pressure so you feel a stretch in the middle of the muscle, not at the knee, not at the hip. Next part. So if you can't do this, your left leg is straight, you're crossed at the ankle there, you're staying there and just breathing. That's your edge. Just keep breathing. Now, if you can do more, well, you can just pick your leg up like you have a baby and rock your baby. Good. Stopping there. Lengthen the leg and slide it down. Let's do the other side. Remember, you're crossing. So one of the important things in yoga is to realize that you want to go to your edge, but what is your edge? Because you have to determine first. If you can, bring it up. Here, remember this. And then hold your baby. And then backing out of the way you just came. And here, I call this windshield wiping. You're moving your femurs. You're not moving your feet. And this will have an effect So a lot of feet problems are actually hip problems, just like a lot of arm problems were actually neck and shoulder problems. Okay, now just pick up one's toes. I'm going to just ask you to do the right one because of instructional purposes. Fan your toes out. Now, because you're home, I assume you have no shoes on. This works best with no shoes because as you move around, you can roll on your toes. When we wear shoes, it makes us club-footed because we can't move the toes. That's important, real important for balance, by the way. But you're rolling on the toes here and lubricating the joints in the foot. And other way. And then stop. One foot feel different than the other? Okay, let's have the left heel up, circling there, rolling on the toes. Other way. And then stop. So the more we move and lubricate our joints means that, well, let me say this. Dry joints, if this is a joint, dry joints rub each other and the cartilage wears down. And then it's bone on bone. Not pleasant. If you lubricate the joints, then that doesn't wear down the cartilage. So that's why we're doing this, so that you feel this. Okay, now both heels up and circle your knees. Now, in order to do this, I'm rocking on my sitting bones, if you notice. Reverse. Good. Now, one of the most important joints that you should lubricate is your knees. Your knees affect everything that you do, even sleeping, as I've discovered because I messed up my right knee. So a good way to do this is you're not tapping on the kneecap. What you're doing is tapping around the kneecap, starting on the outside. Below the kneecap. Inside. And then just see how that feels. Good. Now, do this sideways. Now, our shin muscles need a nice stretch. So you're bringing your top of your foot back, and it's down on the floor. And just pay attention to the discomfort and see how that feels. You do not want to feel pain. And I'm going to define pain as the inability to take a deep breath. A lot like of our joints, especially those of the big toe that get arthritic, you can stretch them. That's okay. In fact, it's really encouraged that you do that, but do it gently. And then release. Then do that on the other foot. So your shin muscles and what moves your toes go all the way up to below the knee. And there is so much that you can do to help you feel better and to help you basically feel more vital. And then release. The next part. This is, I've done this. You can be sitting or a variety of ways, but you're bringing your fingers inside your toes and separating your toes. Notice that I am going underneath the foot and spreading the toes out. Now the toes are designed to move separately, especially in walking. We get a grip, we get a feel for the floor. We don't get that very well in shoes, depending on the shoes. A lot of shoes now are having a wider front part so that feet can move more, which I find very, I bought a couple and that feels really good to my feet. And then we're going to switch. First time I did this was not pleasant at all, but after a while, especially after a hot bath, this works very nicely. Muscles are nice and relaxed. Really encourage baths. The soaking really seems to help soothe and soften the muscles. All right, and then release. Let's notice how that feels right now. We've worked different parts of the body. I feel better, but more, lack of a better word, more wet in the joints. In a good sense, lubricated. Okay. So yoga also has this component. We've done some stretching, not too many asanas, but movement in order to feel better. The next part is what is called pranayama, or breathing techniques. And we, through how we breathe, determine whether we're tense, whether we're relaxed, whether we're happy, whether we're scared. And it all has to do with the breathing pattern. Might not make a lot of sense, might not understand that, but that is really the case. But may I add, it's probably in your experience also. Have you ever had someone tell you, breathe in deeper, when you have been not breathing or breathing shallow because you were scared or even mad, or you've done that to someone else. It's instinctual. So on this one, what we're going to do is try it through different nostrils. It's called alternate nostril breathing. Not the easiest thing to do. Make sure you have Kleenex nearby, because a lot of times you are clogged and we're not even aware. And clear out your nostrils. You know, you're home alone or home, you're in your house. And don't feel bad if this is the case. So first of all, I'm going to lift up my right hand, thumb covering the right nostril, inhaling up the left nostril. Now I'm covering that left nostril and exhaling out the right. Inhaling up the right nostril. Cover, exhale out the left. All the air out. Now inhale up the left. Cover, exhale out the right. We're going to continue that a few more times. Inhale up the right. Cover, exhale left. Inhale up the left. Cover, exhale right. Inhale up the left. I'm sorry, up the right. Cover, exhale out the right. Sorry, out the left. Then bring your hand down. Relax your eyelids down. Try to keep your spine stacked. Elbows back. And observing your breath. So you're taking your awareness, observing how your lungs fill up, how they empty. Filling up again. All the air out. Now pull the navel in. Now let the inhale happen. So your job isn't to inhale, but to exhale the air out. So I like to pull my navel in as I do. So your current inhale is directly related to the last exhale. Did you get all the air out? Creating a vacuum. This allows the air to flow in easily. So many of us are not getting enough oxygen. Yoga teaches the importance of your breathing pattern. Keep your focus on this inhale or exhale. Emptying out those lungs, very intentional. Now, lastly, count the breath. Whatever that count is, exhale the same count out. So currently I'm doing it at a 10, but don't worry about the count, just whatever is the count, match it. So pay attention to your inhale and count it. Match it on the exhale, and then add 2. Then stop. Relax your eyelids down and just don't do anything. Then bring your palms together. Namaste. Which basically means the divine in me salutes the divine in you.